All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Locked In with the Lockrens. I'm Mason Wise.
Jerry Lochran.
Gene Dyker.
Why Lochran? Amy the Boxing Barbie Lazarra.
Okay. And that's our crew for today for this episode number 4, I believe. So, Jerry, we got 2 interesting guests here. Can you walk us through who
Yeah, we actually got a special guest this week, a former professional boxer here from Chi-Town, Chicago, Illinois, who actually attends our noon class. Moved here in retirement a couple years ago. The Irish Animal, Gene Dyker. Yeah, he was called the Irish Animal. Boxed as a professional there in the Chicago area, amateur and professional. So that's how we met. He started coming in here noon class, and he's actually been in the ring with some really, we'll get into it in a minute, but he's been in the ring with some really high-level heavyweight boxers.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Care to lapse on that a little bit more, Gene?
Yeah, I've been in the ring with James Quick Tillis. He went the distance with Mike Tyson, and he was in a gym in Chicago, and I went down there to do some sparring. And he said, "Hey, you want to spar? You're heavyweight?" I said, "Sure." And he was a class act guy. You know, when I was sparring with him, he was quicker than me and moved better. I'm more of a straight-on type banger, you know. And he was like sticking and moving like Muhammad Ali, and just a great fighter. And he hit me with a good shot, and he stunned me. And rather than jump on me and try to knock me out, he stood back. He goes, "Yeah, you all right, dude?" I go, "I'm good." Where other fighters, maybe club fighters in the city, would just try to knock you out.
Yeah.
So he was cool.
So was that when you sparred with Quick Tillis? Was that before or after he fought Mike Tyson?
Before the Mike Tyson fight.
It was like a year or two before, close proximity?
I had won the Golden Gloves in the Park District Championship in Chicago. Then I turned pro, and then I had a handful of pro fights. I kind of peaked as an amateur, and I did okay as a pro, but I had skills to go with other class fighters like Tillis.
Right. So let's back that up. So as an amateur, when did you first get into boxing, and how old were you? Who was your trainer? Like what year, if you can pin down a year, what year are we talking?
So I went in the Navy in 1975, got out in 79, had an honorable discharge, and every ship had its
During
own
Vietnam?
No, right after Vietnam.
Right after Vietnam?
Right after
okay.
Vietnam, 75, 79. And every team had a ship's boxing team. Some of the greatest fighters, you know, amateurs from, you know, Detroit, Chicago, Gary, Indiana, roughneck fighters. And I say, "You want to spar?" I said, "I really don't. I did a little bit of boxing back in Illinois, but I was not skilled that much." I go, "Yeah, we'll teach you." Well, the first year or two, I was more or less a punching bag. And then about into my third year, I was getting my skills and getting my power, and then I had grown a lot more muscular and
While
bigger.
you're in the Navy?
While I was in the Navy.
Okay.
Then they didn't want to spar me no more because then I started hitting them a little too hard.
Right. So you don't have your first official amateur bout till you're out of the Navy?
Right, I had like.
So you're a grown man.
Yeah, I was fighting 3-round. Well, I was in my 20s.
Okay.
In my 20s, but I did have a lot of 3-round, 3-minute round fights when I was in the Navy.
Right, like smokers, basically.
Yeah.
So you get out of the Navy in '79.
Right, honorable discharge.
And so how do you go back to Chicago? You find a gym there, start training officially?
Yeah, I started training with the La Casa brothers. They were pros in their young day in Chicago, and they had a couple pro fighters in there, and they needed sparring partners. So I started sparring, and they said, "This kid, he's not bad." They had to polish me up a little bit, but I never really got the skills I should have got. I was a good power puncher. I mean, I had 50 amateur fights. I won 45, 35 by knockout, and I lost 5. And I got knocked out a couple times. I go in the pros, and I had 13 professional fights. I won 7 and lost 6, which is embarrassing for me because having such a great amateur career. Won the Golden Gloves, won the Park District, no problem, all first-round knockouts. Go into the pros, and it was a lot tougher. Guys were fighting like Muhammad Ali did in the day. Stick and move. I'm chasing around the ring trying to land my power, and at least 3 or 4 fights I got beat by decision, which in my mind as a pro, I got paid every fight either way, but you bet you'd rather win. So I should have won at least 10 and lost 3, and then 7 and 6 I'll just have to live with that. But I have no regrets.
So you actually boxed as an amateur in the Parks program, Chicago?
Yeah, I won the Park District Heavyweight Championship,
and
I won the Golden Gloves.
Runs that program, Rick Fernuto. Yeah. So who are some of the other top heavyweights that you sparred? Because Quick Tillis wasn't the only one.
Yeah, Jumbo Cummins, he got out of prison. He was built like a Greek god. He was about 6 foot tall, about 250 pounds, not an ounce of fat on him. And I see him, and I swear to God, it looked like a gorilla just got out of the zoo. This guy was so massively powerful, and I'm not trying to be racist, by no means. But he was like, oh, I'll spar with this guy. So I get in there. This guy's chasing me. I was on the bicycle throwing jabs and hooks. I'd hit him with my best shots, and he just kept coming. And he was he had my style of fighting, but at a different level, just crazy. He was in prison for killing a guy. He did 10 years, and he got out. It was involuntary manslaughter or something. And, man, he was just trying to take my head off, and I was sticking and moving. I was on my bicycle. But,
right.
Yeah, he was a power puncher. He fought on the national level, too, James Quick Tillis. I mean, sorry, not James Quick, Jumbo Cummins. Floyd Jumbo Cummins.
Right,
yeah.
right. So what made you get out of it when you got out of it as a pro?
You know what? I realized, wow, that amateur career I had, which was for me was stellar, only losing 5 fights out of 50 and I had like 35 knockouts, so it came easy. And I thought, wow, I'm going to go in the pros. I'm going to probably go 20-0, 20-1, and it just wasn't that easy. Everybody was fighting like behind, sticking and moving. And I was like, all right,
they all did something called move their feet.
Yeah, and I was trying to bull rush them and win fights, and they'd sidestep me. I'm like, son of a gun. But yeah, I got no regrets. I just realized, though, as an amateur, I shouldn't have just been such a bull rusher and try to knock guys out. I should have learned more.
That
about
happens to a lot of guys, though, that hit hard and like to fight aggressively. They don't get that complete skill set as a banger, like a Tank Davis. There's not many. There's a reason why he's special. Even Marciano, he would admittedly say he's kind of learning OJT, right, on the job training, and he probably had already won the title, maybe 2 or 3 defenses in the title before he was really a finished product, the leaping left hook and sliding with his overhand right. But most of the guys don't get the amateur experience they need and the really well-developed skills. What if you box somebody hits harder than you do?
Well, you better get out of the way.
You see what I'm saying? You got to have some more tools in the chest.
Well, I was pretty impressed by the fighters you had in your gym tonight, the young guys that you were training. And what was that one kid's name? It was so aggressive, Jordan. Was that his name? Landon. He was, coming after fighters and then bobbing and weaving and throwing punches.
It's funny you mention him because everybody's impressed. When he first started sparring, I always tell people, Amy knows, I always tell people, some flowers bloom real quick. Some flowers may take all season to bloom. It doesn't mean one is less beautiful than another.
Yeah.
Landon, it was a little rough when he started. Yeah, he's whether it's that phrase in Rocky, he says his face is a catcher's mitt. He was getting a busted nose every time. And I thought, I wondered, in the very beginning, you're like, okay, how long is it going to take for? And he started with a group of the two brothers, a group of very gifted kids at the same time.
I remember.
So that made it even stand out some flaws. And it really wasn't until his first amateur bout, the first round, he was throwing really sharp combinations, being aggressive, moving his head, and his footwork. He's got really good in and out feint, like Joe Frazier type feint with his feet. And the first round was about as good a first round in somebody's first bout that you'll ever see. We're not bragging on me. I'm bragging on the kid.
I understand.
But up until that moment, it was a little bit of a struggle, and now he's really blossomed after 2 bouts. He's 2-0 now.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like I have to upgrade his sparring to stronger kids.
Oh yeah.
But it goes to show you you can't give up on these kids either just because they start a little behind. It doesn't come maybe as easy to them in the beginning if they've got the work ethic. James Toney's classic example. He can't jump up and grab the rim on a 10-foot goal. He can't run a 4.9940, but he's a Hall of Fame fighter. You can work hard enough, long enough, and get a great skill set, and that's Landon. It's funny that you mentioned you're impressed with him out of all those kids. Of course, he fights like you fought, so
he's got a little more skill than I had at that age, but he can move better.
For 2 bouts, that's incredible. So basically, a kid like that, all you got to do is manage him correctly, and it's going to take care of itself.
Well, I was impressed with Amy tonight and your son Wyatt. They were mixing it up, and I don't know if anybody doesn't know Amy. She's a really good woman fighter, and not just woman fighter, just fighter in general. And then his son Wyatt, who's been learning the game for a handful of years, is getting good and going in there and mixing it up with her. And she's got skills, and she's going to bring out the best in Wyatt too. So they look pretty impressive.
She's really good for a lot of the young guys. If they can get past, a lot of the young guys have a hard time with loot. And I have 5 different women female national champions in Lexington when I coached there. A lot of the young guys have a hard time losing rounds to a girl, right? But there's, especially if mom and dad's watching, and not Wyatt does it. Wyatt just sees them as another boxer. But a lot of the kids not familiar with the game, and they're losing rounds to a girl, especially if mom and dad come in. It really weighs heavier than if it's a boy that they're losing rounds to. And I'm like, you might as well. I had the one girl there was a heavyweight national champion, Team USA. She would be like, until them boys got about 5 bouts, we'd have open sparring like once a month in Lexington, and we were in a rough neighborhood, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she'd be knocking those boys upside down, and the women loved it. If you watch the crowd, it's the women that love to see a woman putting it on. Once they got about 5 bouts, though, you'd see that the script would flip a little bit, right? But early on, they would get tattooed. But it's kind of ironic that you mentioned that because that's a topic. So you meet your wife. Are you still boxing professionally?
Yeah, maybe at that time I had, I don't know, maybe 7 fights.
So she saw that Irish animal physique in full effect.
I was a solid,
Yeah.
200 to 220 max.
Right, had the six-pack going on.
Yeah, I had the six-pack going on. Now I got the keg going on.
She couldn't resist you.
Yeah. That was it.
So and then you get out of boxing, you go into construction.
Well, yeah, I was always in construction, and I did the pro boxing gig on the side because there was fights that I would only make, if I fought a 4-rounder, I'd only make $400. Win or lose, knock the guy out in the first round, $400. He knocks me out in the first round, $400. So I go out to Iowa.
Which is pretty good money back then.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. And $1 you could buy 3 packs of cigarettes or 3 gallons of gas. I didn't smoke, but I could use it. I need the gas though. But I went out to Iowa one time and I fought a 6-rounder with the hometown hero, Cedar Rapids. It's about 1,000 people in the army there. And I'm like, man, I'm fighting this guy, Tim Murray, and for 5 rounds, I'm hitting one of my best heavyweight punches. He's going toe-to-toe with me, but he could take it. And I'm like, so I go back to the corner and I go, Gene, you're losing 5 rounds to nothing. You're going to have to do better. All right, well, I got 1 round left. So he drops his left hand when he throws a jab. I step over the top. Boom, I nail him with a big right hand. He goes down. The place was going crazy for 5 rounds, screaming, yelling. There was only maybe 10 Chicagoans there. The rest were Iowans. And you could hear a pin drop in there then when I dropped him. Then he gets up, and it's like a wounded animal. You got to finish him off. So I jumped on him, knocked him out, dropped him again, and the ref stopped fighting. He comes up to my corner after the round. He goes, sir, you were losing 5 rounds. He goes, you might have won 1 round, but you were losing at least 4. And there's the only way you could win this fight is to knock him out. And he's the hometown hero. And I said, well.
His aunt was one of the judges?
I think so. Yeah. But,
we laugh about it, but that happened.
That was the best fight of my life because I come home, my eyes are puffed up, my nose puffed up. Never had a broken nose in 60-some fights. But people were like, Gene, what happened? You lost? I go, no, you see the other guy. But truthfully, he put a whipping on me, but I got him, though.
We joke about these judges, but I actually will pull. People often wonder, like Roger Mayweather, you didn't have to watch anything he said in the corner is going to have an F-bomb attached to it. This mother, but sometimes I'll pull that out. You got a boxer that's winning, but they're winning by a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just kind of coasting instead of really trying to put that exclamation point on it. Between the second and third round, I say, you see that judge right there? You see that judge? You see that judge? Typically 3 judges there. Yeah. Did any of them ride here with us?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You better 8 count this guy, make it definitive, right?
The hometown.
Yeah, one of them might be his aunt, grandma.
That's some truth in that.
Yeah, if they didn't ride here with us.
Or family friends,
then
for
don't
sure.
Don't count on honesty to get you through. Right?
Jerry,
I don't want to hear you crying.
he gets mean in the corner. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's a combat sport.
Oh, yeah.
It's a combat sport, and if you're easy on them, easy loses.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Easy. The more nasty and vicious you are, tactful but nasty and vicious, that and success tend. Now you got to praise people when they're doing right, but you have to viciously call them out when they're not because the game's going to be vicious. I've never heard a coach yell, "He's tired, take it easy on him."
No.
But I've heard him say he's tired, get him out of there. Right?
Yeah.
So before we move on, who's your GOAT heavyweight of all time according to the Irish Animal?
My favorite heavyweight?
No, not your favorite. The GOAT. Who's the GOAT? You may not like him, but who's the GOAT?
Well, I did like Marciano because I watched him when I was younger, and he was way
He's
before
really
my
a
time,
cruiserweight,
too.
though.
Yeah. I mean, I did like Mike Tyson. It's too bad his management wasn't better,
On the night they won the heavyweight title, let's be fair, on the night they won the heavyweight title, and you got a time machine, mix them all up, who do you think beats everybody?
Tyson in his prime beats everybody, I think.
I think that the night he won the title from Trevor Burbick, I just have a hard time seeing anybody go 15 rounds, old school 15 rounds, and him not clipping them. I think George Foreman has the best chance.
I love George Foreman too.
Because of the uppercut. You know, Mike bobbing and weaving.
Especially
the
that
uppercut gives George a way better chance than Ali. The night Ali won the title, he's maybe 210 at the most.
Yeah.
He would have knocked him sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, we got to give Ali a chance. But I think George has the best chance on the night they won the heavyweight title. And look what George did to Frazier, which is a fairly similar fighter to Tyson.
And you know, it's funny. This is where you walk into like the whole, combat math of things where, Tyson could have easily beaten Ali, but Ali would have beaten Foreman. Foreman could have beaten Mike. And you get this weird triangle.
Well, to be honest, with Ali, the night Ali won the heavyweight title, and George, the night he won it, would Ali have beaten him then? Ali was kind of a kid. His body hadn't even, like at 34, his body was even different. He was more manhood. He was more intelligent, and he knew, hey, I'm going to lay on the ropes. It's 90 degrees at ringside, and I'm going to let him tire himself out. I'm not going to. Him at 22 might not have been able to do that to George.
Right.
Ali's second run, though, after the 4-year layoff is incomparable, right? To look what he did after the 4-year layoff is incomparable. I mean, fantastic. He's better man than he was even boxer, and he's a great boxer. But on the night they won the heavyweight title, I have a hard time seeing anybody come out on top of Mike, except for George. Was George about 227?
Yeah,
80-inch reach. Yeah. That would be like the dream fight if you had a time machine. Put those two together, put a stake in the middle of them.
Someone's getting knocked out.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's skip over real quick because we haven't had Amy on the podcast before. So Amy's one of the competitive boxers in the gym. Southpaw also moved here from Chicago, right? So tell them how that happened.
I moved here from Chirac. It was it kept just getting worse and worse, like where I was living.
She lived in the $high neighborhood.
Yeah, you know it. Yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse where we were living. So one of my family members moved here, and we were like, okay, let's just kind of throw a pin at the map. And we ended up here. And I started as a cheerleader here, but I don't know. I just had to box, and then I met Jerry, and I have never been happier with the sport.
Said I have this innate ability to make good-looking women into nasty animals. I don't know. it works real good, other than a romantic relationship, right? So I'm actually, the first night she comes in, I'm working at the front counter, and my buddy's running the class, and I see Amy. She jumps into adult class, right? Mm-hmm. And I see her over there throwing punches, and she's just throwing punches like somebody just stole her lunch money. And I'm like, where's this coming from? I didn't know where she was from. You know, I wasn't up there when she signed her waiver or anything. And she came over there, and I said, where's this drive coming? Where's this nastiness coming from? She says, that cheer coach just always told me I wasn't good enough. Yeah, it's like a Bring It On movie, you know?
Bring It On.
The cheer coach. Okay, so Amy's actually the first recipient in history of the Sarge Johnson Scholarship via USA Boxing out of Colorado Springs. Sarge Johnson was one of the Olympic coaches there, 76. We had all those, Ray Leonard, that era. He was one of the assistants on that team. Probably would have been the head coach in 80. He died on the plane crash when the whole team died there in that 1980 plane crash. He was on it from Indianapolis. So the scholarship's named after him. She's the first recipient ever, state of Kentucky. So, Amy, I'll let you explain a little bit. How do you qualify for the scholarship? How much is the maximum? And how do you maintain it?
Okay, so with the Sarge Johnson Scholarship, it's not only about being, this, good boxer. Although you do, since I've been boxing, I have been 100% in the sport. I don't think people realize, once you start boxing, the first thing Jerry ever told me was that a boxer is like a table, has 4 legs, and if you think you're going to have this big social life when you're boxing, you don't have one of those legs. I've had to miss out on a lot of things for boxing, and I don't regret it at all. But on top of being a good boxer, you have to be a good student as well. I maintained a 4.2 GPA through all of my high school, and you have to maintain at least like a 2.5. It goes in degrees, where like the smallest amount is like $1,000 a year. You have to have a 2.0. I think the next highest amount is like a 3.0, where it's $3,000, and then what I have is, I think it's around a total of $17,000 that I get for having over like a 3.8. I also I worked like very, very hard through high school. I was very involved in the gym, but I was also very involved in community service and stuff. I was very, like, every time I went to a boxing event, I think what did it for me was I was always respectful, not only to the person that I was fighting, whether I won or lose, but I was win or lose, but I was also very respectful to all of the coaches, all of the judges. I absolutely love Dwayne so much. He is one of the
Dwayne is our chief of officials.
Yes, yeah. I love him. He's so nice.
Not The Rock.
Yeah. But you have to just be a all over good person for your community. You're not going to get it by doing the bare minimum. You have to try very hard for it.
So what's the maximum? I missed out on that. What's the maximum that a student can get in college on the Sarge Johnson?
I think it's around $8,000 a year.
Annually?
Yes.
Right. And a lot of folks don't realize, hey, I can go on scholarship to college, and then it's 2 bouts a year to maintain it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So they end up not giving all the money away every year out of college, because a lot of kids that box don't end up going to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what's the word I'm trying to look for? But a lot of the athletes don't end up going to college for whatever reason. Inner city sport, but they end up not giving all the money out every year. So that's there, and basically you had to compete in at least 2 bouts 2 years leading up to.
Yeah, you had to be boxing for at least a year prior with two
bouts at least.
Yeah.
Very easy to qualify for, right? So Amy actually had the opportunity this past summer. Now they're having a USA boxing tournament every summer just for women. Okay, so she got to, and they have a novice division. Yeah, they have novice and open. Only women's boxing. A USA national tournament is in Lafayette, Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So we went down. Tell them about that experience.
That was a lot of fun. I lost the first fight there to a very, very good boxer. But overall, it was a really...
You lost to the winner of the tournament.
Yes, yeah. I did lose to the winner of the overall tournament.
That's impressive, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody there was very nice. I got a lot of good experience with other people, and I do want to go back.
So she's sitting at 7 bouts now, and you're still a novice at 10 or less. So the plan is to get 2 more bouts between now and that. Was that June?
August.
Oh, it was August.
Yeah.
Okay. Get 2 more bouts between now and the next one. Still going there novice. If you win the novice division, then you get an automatic invite to the USA Nationals, like in December in the open division. So that'll be perfect. We actually had a couple. They were doing match bouts at that tournament too. Mm-hmm. And after everybody saw their performance the first day and how close that bout was with the eventual winner, we had 2 more match bouts scheduled after that people accepted, and get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go weigh in. One day we were wrapped up, warmed up
in my uniform,
and find out that they backed out on you. Yeah,
that's happened to me multiple times.
Yeah.
Not even only
at a
that
national
competition.
tournament.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I think the best part of all of it was I got to move into my college dorm and meet all my teachers with 2 black guys. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And how many rings were they running out there?
2.
They were running 2?
Yes.
I just came back from the USA's. They're running 4. So
yeah, they're running 2.
Yeah, so it's really good for athletes to get to experience that tournament early on, and getting up and weighing in at 6 a.m. and getting called to the scale randomly by weight class, and multiple rings even in a room really messes some people up.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be. They used to have the ringside world championships in Kansas City, Missouri. They would run over 2,000 athletes, biggest tournament in the world. They would run 6 rings simultaneously. And I've seen guys that I thought would just kill somebody over a cheeseburger, and they see those 6 rings and they just shrink. You see their confidence. I'm like, you're only boxing one guy, right at a time. Yeah, he's going to be the same age as you, same weight as you. Yeah. But, so she got to experience that, so that'll be the goal. We'll go back this summer and then win that and box in the USA's again at the end of next year. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what's the ultimate goal as we go on here say post 2025?
Post 2025, after I win nationals and I win the USA's, I want to get to the Olympics. That is like I want to go to the Olympic trials, and I want to get to the Olympics and fight and see where it goes from there. My dream is to be sponsored by Red Bull. That's always been my dream, no matter what sport I do. I love Red Bull so much.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm in college for criminal justice and chemistry, but that is like...
And you're a national merit scholar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am very involved in my school also. Being a boxer is not only just being a boxer, but it's also you have to be smart too. In and out of the ring.
And Amy's another southpaw, right? Remember I said I'm a southpaw magnet?
Yeah.
Amy, aren't you sponsored?
I am sponsored right now. I'm sponsored by...
Yeah, give him a shout out.
Oh, yeah. I'm sponsored by Kaylee, and she does nails and hair at my college. I love her. She's so sweet. She does my hair every fight, and it is tight, and it hurts. But it's awesome. And then I'm sponsored by A&J Towing and Recovery. Thank you guys for that. And I am also sponsored by Tried and True Tattoo Parlor by Justin. Go see him. He has done all of my work. He's a very great guy, and he's a very family-friendly environment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's transition now. We got everybody introduced. Let's transition. So this past week we had a historic rematch. We'll let Wyatt talk first because we hadn't heard from him yet other than a few spoofs. We had a historic rematch there between Tyson Fury and Usyk, and everybody was anticipating, what might happen second time around. So, Wyatt, you've been around the sport your whole life. What'd you see, buddy?
It was boring.
Boring. You want to see some murder, death, kill.
Yeah. I was shocked when Fury.
Who did you think was going to win, and how did you think they were going to win?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I was shocked when Fury kicked his dad out of the camp. I was pretty shocked.
Right.
About that.
Yeah. Maybe his dad's training for me after I talked that trash.
I thought
He can headbutt this right hand.
2025 coming
He
up.
dropped out to train for me. Come on, baby.
You see where he headbutted that thing in front
Yeah,
of
I would love for him to try to headbutt me. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Fury was gonna win.
You thought Fury was going to redeem himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they could rig it and they could do it through
How did you see him winning? Decision, stoppage, what?
decision.
Okay.
He don't stop Usyk.
That guy's something different. The Eastern European guys are wired different. All right, let's Gene, what'd you think?
No,
what did you expect to happen versus what happened?
Well, I thought Usyk, he's not that well known to me. I mean, Usyk, I thought Fury would probably win that fight.
But you knew Usyk was Olympic gold medalist?
That I didn't know.
Yeah, Olympic gold medalist. He was the unified undisputed champion at cruiser before he moved up to heavy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think I only seen him
so
fight
you kind of
once.
expected Fury to win?
Yeah, I thought he would.
Okay.
And Fury, I grew up in the George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton days where it was unbelievable boxing. And even Ernie Schaefer's, it was good. So
Okay, so back to Usyk and Fury. You expected Fury to win.
I thought Fury won, even though he reminds me of a street fighter. He's got power and he's got a lot of heart. I got to admit that. But he don't remind me of the pro boxers I grew up watching. He doesn't remind me of that.
No, where everybody showed up in 15-round shape.
Yeah, those 15-round
Did
fights.
you agree with the decision? 8 rounds to 4.
No, that's kind of controversial a little bit.
I think I had it about 7-5.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds all right.
Yeah, a little closer probably, but I thought he definitely won. All right, Amy, what did you expect to happen? Did you agree with the outcome?
I expected Usyk to stop Fury. I'm a little biased. I don't like Fury. I don't like how he acts outside the ring. He couldn't even stay after to talk to his opponent after he lost, and I have no respect for you as a fighter if you can't do that. I lost in front of our hometown, and I still went and congratulated her. Like, you're a grown man. You need to act like one. Usyk overall is a very good person, and he's a good fighter, and he lives like a fighter outside of just boxing. Like, you should live like a fighter. If I know I have a pro fight coming up in front of millions of people, I'm going to work every single day. I do not think Fury did that.
Well, that goes back to our point. Fury, before, he's really not been in shape since the layoff, the drugs and all that,
Yeah.
right? If you look at the body before versus after, of course you could argue loose skin, he weighed 400. But he's really, like when you show up, I mean, he had a leather jacket on stuff, but he was at least 270, right?
Yeah.
He weighed 280. So if Fury hires a nutritionist and he says, I'm going to eat everything you tell me to eat, I'm not going to eat anything you tell me not to, you're my source of food, and that's it, and he does everything right, and he weighs in. He probably weighs 250, 245, 250. He probably just mows over everybody, right? But he's, instead of taking his God-given ability and genetic advantage and exploiting it, he relies on it to coast. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking this morning, like all the big guys, all the great big guys, Lennox Lewis, the Klitschko's.
Klitschko brothers, yeah.
Trying to think, beat Holyfield first for the title.
James Toney.
No, beat him for the title. The first loss he ever had.
Oh.
Riddick Bowe.
Oh, Riddick Bowe,
all those 6'5" guys, all those 6'5", they all mow him down. I mean, those guys all had six-packs.
Yeah.
Right? Like Riddick Bowe, the night he beat Holyfield for the title first time, he would kill Tyson Fury.
Yep.
Like, look at, he could fight inside, outside, everything. So what'd you think about the fight, Mason?
So I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even get to watch it, if I'm being completely honest.
But what did you expect to happen versus what the outcome was?
Honestly, I did not expect Fury to win. Even after watching the first one, I thought, I'm like, hey, the first 4 rounds, again, this how you guys are explaining the fight almost sounds exactly how it went last time. I was assuming Fury was going to come out first 4 rounds.
Usyk came out hotter this time.
Really?
Right off the bat, pressuring him, right, making him work.
Okay.
Right, jab to the body. I love the southpaw. If you get a southpaw that'll jab to the body, he's jabbing the body a lot. He's throwing the to the body, and he's right up in him, making him work.
Yeah. Compiled.
Yeah.
That's what I was essentially expecting out of this fight. Was I didn't see Fury winning this because, first of all, if he came in with no spare tire around his waist,
right,
and he was tight, and he's not drinking 20.
Everybody's trying out for second place.
He's not drinking 24 pints of Guinness the night before.
Usyk's probably like Mango that we had on there. He's probably weighing his food.
Breathing boxing.
He's basically like the Caucasian version of Evander Holyfield when Evander's at his. That's what he is, and he missed his daughter's birth.
Yeah.
At the first fight, this guy's total dedication. Right, he's hadn't seen his kids in 2 months,
and I'm pretty sure he's Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox Christian too, and they're also very.
What a tremendous representative for the heavyweight crown. The guy that there's not going to be any side chick stuff with him. There's not going to be any getting arrested. So, Wyatt, did you think the decision was correct? 8 rounds to 4.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you could argue 7. So let me ask you this. Who do you want to see either one of those guys fight next? Who excites you?
What's that one guy's name that called Usyk out?
Daniel Dubois. Dubois landed the right hand that was like right on the belt line and hurt him. It was a little low, and then they said he got robbed out of the.
I just want to see Usyk knock somebody out.
Yeah, and Usyk stopped him though.
He did.
9-10 rounds, something like that.
And that would kind of get him more of a bigger crowd.
Oh, you heard what Usyk said as soon as he called him.
Anytime.
What did he call the? He didn't call him Emperor. What did he call
Your Majesty or something?
Your Majesty. He said,
Greatness.
Make the fight.
Yeah.
Make the fight.
Yeah.
What about you? Who would you like to see Usyk fight, Gene?
It's a hard call for me, but not that, like I did say earlier, I thought Fury would win the fight, but Usyk, I thought at any moment with his ability, I didn't really know a lot about him, that he could knock out Fury. And, but because, like I say, Fury doesn't remind me of an old school boxer, it just reminds me of a street fighter. Usyk is more polished, and I thought eventually he could land
Fury
on
was in just better enough shape than the first fight to prevent getting hurt and knock it. I actually think the guy that I think is the most dangerous guy out there is the big African guy that stopped Jared Anderson. I don't know if anybody that the one that throws the uppercuts like George Foreman. Stop Jared Anderson.
Bokele.
Supposed to be the next big great American heavyweight, and I know Jared's coach, real good coach, and he just destroyed him. I think that guy's the most dangerous guy.
When I saw his highlight of his last fight,
6'6", big tank of a man.
Yeah, he literally. But
he's fast.
He's fast, and he fights identical to Foreman. And like in this last fight, I was watching him.
He looks like he's watched tape on Foreman. I mean, it's just mirror image. Yeah.
He was 50-60%ing this guy, and the other dude his head was rocking back.
Is he undefeated?
I don't know.
No, he took a loss or two learning, but he basically had no amateur career, and now he's been slabbing everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just he literally just has all the punching power.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, I would if I was managing Usyk, I'd probably fight that guy last
Yeah.
because he has enough power. You know, Usyk's a blowed up. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4", but I mean, what did he weigh? 227.
Yeah.
He's not a huge heavyweight, but this guy's
This guy's big.
6'6",
He's big.
260.
Yeah.
And I'm talking Mack truck
Yeah,
shoulders.
Where's he
Yeah.
from?
And
Is he from?
Africa.
Africa.
What about Usyk? Is he from
Ukraine.
Russia?
Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Ukrainian. Yeah.
Actually,
Ukraine.
technically, he's from Russia now.
Yeah. I like it when he says it.
Yeah.
And he has that crazy eye. Usyk just has that crazy eye like he would rip your head off and eat cornflakes out of your skull.
Yeah.
And he says, don't be scared. I would be with you, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, great representative. Daniel Dubois, though, that's a great rematch.
It's a good rematch, but it doesn't really excite me.
Where do you go? Where do you go? I know. I think I know the answer to the question myself, but where do you go with Tyson Fury?
Retire.
You're managing Tyson Fury right now. Where do you go with him?
Leave him.
Let's go, champ. We're done.
Give
Now,
him a couple bumps.
There's one more huge money fight, even though he took 2 L's. Who else took
Anthony
2?
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony
Anthony
Joshua took
Joshua,
back-to-back L's
Yeah.
to Usyk. So did Fury. They're still the 2 best British heavyweights. There's not a stadium in Europe that they couldn't fill and be sold out.
Yeah.
You go ahead and take that Anthony Joshua fight and retire.
Yeah,
now, if he blows Joshua out, look like $1 million, then you. But I think it's probably going to go the other way. I think Anthony's living like a fighter.
Yeah.
He
just got out-skilled. He got caught with that punch he was hurting Dubois and got caught.
And well, the thing is that he's been getting caught a lot.
Well, that brings us to a great topic. And got 2 heavyweights sitting here at the table, right? When a kid walks in the gym, Anthony Joshua's 6'6", 245 lane, 245 with abs, right? 250 with abs. When he walks in the gym and he's 15, 16 years old, and he's 6'2", 210 pounds. Who's he sparring?
Big boys.
Grown men.
Yeah.
Right? Does he need to be sparring grown men?
No.
At that
No.
age. He don't have grown men musculature, grown men neurology.
Right.
And I've seen so many of those guys. I wonder what kind of damage he took. Because you see him get hit with shots when he's on balance. He's straight up and down. His chin's tucked. Shots that shouldn't hurt him. And they disconnect his light switch.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that coaches make is letting these big, young kids. David Benavidez, he said he's always sparring grown men because at 15 years old, he was 300 pounds. He was 300 pounds. Who would have ever thought he'd be the 168 world champion, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge mistake, and I think somebody really did Anthony Joshua
A
a
disservice.
disservice because
Well,
he's got the work ethic.
If I remember correctly, he used to be one of Klitschko's sparring partners
Yeah,
consistently.
Klitschko would bring them guys in when they're like 3, 4, 5-0 for sparring, and then he put it on them pretty good, hoping that as they get to 10, as they start thinking about title shot, they can remember that he pounded. He's very cerebral.
Right.
Yeah.
He was big braining them the entire time.
What about you, White? Who would you like to see Fury fight? Anybody? Amy?
Well, I'll give him 2 bumps and then just retire.
Let him go out on a high note. The Gypsy King.
I hate him. I don't want to see him fight anymore.
What? When you say you hate him,
Let him
what
get
is
knocked
it
out.
specifically that makes you have a disdain for the Gypsy King?
It it is like all the new upcoming fighters, how they they showboat before. It's all marketing, it's all a ploy, it's all like oh, let's make the biggest scene doing something. It's all, they're like paying to fight. Like Jake Paul, I can understand if he's a good fighter, but I just cannot get past all the YouTube crap and all that kind of stuff. I just can't do it.
So you can't get past the antics.
Yes.
Yeah, too much garnishment, not enough meat on the plate.
Yes, I don't think boxing needs to be like a reality TV show.
What if a guy
right.
came along like Tyson was that doesn't hardly talk, no socks, black trunks, no jacket, no
Yes.
nothing, just walks to the ring? That's there's a market for that now, right?
Yeah.
If you're that guy.
Yes, I can't stand
Yeah.
watching it in the amateur fights where they'll pull up a mask or something, or they'll just start showboating.
These guys are walking around amateur fights in ski masks.
They'll start
Yeah,
stomping
that's
around the
crazy.
ring.
Looking like mobile glory holes.
Then you get in there and you get beat, right?
I got booed out of a fight, even though I won, and she's stomping around the ring mad. And it's like, I'm just trying to shake your hand.
Yeah, that's not right. Even those Klitschko brothers were polished. They weren't showboaters. They did the best they could. They didn't win every fight, but they were good champions when they fought.
Well, Emmanuel Stewart talked about them, and he said if you didn't know better, you'd think those guys were law enforcement, military. He said they're the most disciplined guys. You've got to be disciplined to be champ for 10 years.
And they were
now, I
smart,
hated
too.
watching Vladimir fight. I was wishing he was the one that went into politics and let Vitaly, because Vitaly was a killer, right? I hated him watching him fight, and I always said the guy that beats Vladimir is going to be a guy taller than him, because Emmanuel taught him how to hold and taught him how to shove the guy's head under your armpit and lay on the back of his neck. Well, they'd wait till 10th round, take a point away from him. Like, he's already won the fight cheating.
Yeah.
But the guys were a class act. Both of them class acts.
Both
right?
educated, too. Real smart.
You know, they were the first heavyweight champions in history with a PhD. There had only been one heavyweight in history with a bachelor's degree. Who
And
was it?
brothers, too.
Who's the only heavyweight in history before them that had a bachelor's degree? Not masters, not but a bachelor's. There's only one ever. He fought Mike Tyson.
Was it Razor Ruddock?
They made fun. He had a title. He fought Mike Tyson. They made fun of him for holding. He went the distance with
Oh,
Tyson.
I know. Bone Crusher Smith.
Bone Crusher Smith, Navy guy,
Pulled
right?
that out. I pulled that out.
Navy guy. He's the only
Yeah.
one that ever had a bachelor's and then the Klitschko's come along that got PhDs. Because everybody always said an educated guy is not going to be heavyweight champ. You need to be hungry. You don't have any other options. And here they come along and they just shatter. When I was growing up, they had the regular TV series called the Great White Hope.
Yeah.
In the late 70s, there was a TV series called The Great White Hope, right? The guy's a white guy trying to – so they came to a consensus since Marciano, white guys can't fight. Well, then here comes mid-90s, and we have that European influx. Next thing you know, like 5 out of the top 7 heavyweights on the planet are white guys.
Jerry
Like,
Coetzee from South Africa. Remember him?
Yeah.
The red-haired guy, Jerry Coetzee. He was a good fighter.
Yeah, but it just flipped the whole script when the European guys started coming in. They bring that discipline, the hard work. And of course, Russia was coming off of basically their version of Great Depression at the end of the Cold War. So you got these guys that, if I make the national team, my family's living in a better home, like Cuba. They're eating better food, better car, everything. It meant the world to them. Just flipped the boxing world up on its ear. But I love it, the landscape now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Triple G came along, and they got Usyk. It's awesome. So, moving forward, you touched on Jake Paul. So, who we want to see Jake Paul fight?
I want to see him fight Garcia.
Ryan Garcia, even though Ryan's a lot smaller.
I want to see it happen. He called him out on Twitter.
Okay.
It was like a whole thing. It was like.
Did you see the Ryan Garcia post over the holidays where he's holding the baby, Devin Haney?
No.
I don't know if he photoshopped it. The baby's dead on, and he said, "I just want to make sure my son knows I wish him a Merry Christmas." Oh yeah, it was all over his social media. It was brutal. It was it was funny. I'm sorry, but it was like baby Devin Haney. He's holding him. He said, "I want to make sure my son has a Merry Christmas." So you want to see that fight? I want to see. I want to see him with Canelo.
I want to see.
Come on,
that'll be
give
so
it to us,
good.
Canelo.
Yeah.
Give it to Damelo.
I know we said this in past episodes, but Canelo said, "I'll fight him when I'm retired."
Well, he should, because he's not fighting the best guys anymore. So now's the time, and the money is there.
Yes.
Canelo and Jake Paul, come on, what's it make?
Oh.
Canelo makes $100 million for that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Am I
easy.
wrong?
Yeah. No,
He makes
easy.
$100 million for that fight.
But it also depends. Like, are we
Jake's
gonna
the
go,
one making 20.
Are we gonna do another painful Netflix live event, or are we gonna do
Yes.
pay-per-views?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, WWE's going to Netflix.
Could you
What's it
imagine?
gonna
Could
do?
you imagine the Mexican population that would be there
Oh,
cheering,
we will never
cheering
see
for
the
him
fight.
to kill Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We are never gonna see that fight if it
Conor-
goes on Netflix live.
I
We are going
don't-
I'll be staring at a buffering.
Canelo wouldn't agree to. They kind of tanked on that one. They should have had a dry run. That's what they should have done.
They
Yeah.
should.
I like
done.
pay-per-view. I remember like going to see like the Ronda Rousey pay-per-view fights with my parents at a
yeah.
bar. Like going to watch it
Yeah.
like that. It's just a better way to do it.
That fight makes sense now. Though I mean, Jake even at cruiserweight, he's bigger. But of course, Canelo ain't going to agree to like shortening rounds and 20-ounce gloves
Yeah.
and
That'll
all
be
that
the real
crap.
deal.
Canelo's coming to kill him, and
Yeah.
he won't make a deal. Mike stole everybody's money. He got
Yeah, he
everybody
did.
to join Netflix.
He even
stole.
said that too.
Yeah.
He said that this is just to pay my bills.
It was an exhibition
but
fight at the
the
best.
commission should have held his purse up for
Yeah.
not boxing in earnest. He's slipping to the right and then putting the brakes on the right hand. And that's
Yeah.
I've seen guys on the pro side, like the punch like misses them by an inch and they flop.
Yeah.
Right, the wind off of it knocked them out, and then the commission holding their check.
Yeah.
I know I told you this before, but I've seen guys on the pro side back in the day, two buddies, and they both get fake IDs. And they go, because after you lose so many times, they don't want to sanction you. Go out of state, like say me and Mason have fake ID. Mason lays down for me under the fake ID. The next week, I use my fake ID, and we fight in a different state, and I lay down for Mason. So we're each getting a win so we can keep fighting and getting paid. It's such a dirty.
It's like that's like boosting back in Call of Duty days.
Yeah.
Really?
You get in a lobby with your buddies and they're on the other team.
Make
Like,
them
hey,
look
man,
like
let me go kill you 500 times.
Did you see that? Did you see that, Eddie Jean? Guys intentionally laying down.
Oh, yeah.
To help build guys. My buddy actually drove to Atlanta. I won't say who it was, but a buddy of mine drove to Atlanta. He had Golden Glove national champion. They took the opponent with them in the car for his pro debut. So it looks impressive. You're letting this Golden Glove national champion box his first pro fight out of state. Risky. The opponent rode in the car with them. They stopped 2 blocks away. The opponent jogs in, and then he lays down first, second round, meets him back on the corner 2 blocks away, and they all ride away together.
Good payday. A good payday for all of them.
Yes. Okay. So let's touch on a little bit. Next week, we didn't talk about this, Annie. He's not here this week. But we had Preston Scott that'll be here on our next podcast. He just fought for the Agoge Fight Series Fight League Muay Thai Championship a week ago this past Saturday, 14th. First round knockout, right? Everybody here seen it at the table?
Yes.
What'd y'all think?
Preston is one of the people we were talking about where it's like he won't say a word and he does what he has to do and he gets out, and I like Preston a lot. I think that I thought that he did a very good job. He's a very good fighter overall.
The fight was stopped, three knockdowns, 2 straight left hands, and then a front kick or teep stopped the bout there in the first round. Nasty.
Yeah.
You probably stitch the video in there next week when he's on.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to stitch the video, and I can add it in as a card. But this Agoge fight, it was pretty much he ended the guy the same way as he ended the dude at the Aries fight. Then
the Aries fight actually got into the second round.
Yeah.
So I had to climb up the steps once. I'll tell them that sometimes. Like, if it's somebody they should get out of there, I'm like my knee's hurting, right? I need some knee surgery, and I keep putting it off. That's for real. And I'm like, why are you making me climb up and down these steps? You should already had them out of here. And but yeah, he told me before he left. I actually had to go because he was boxing in the USA Nationals the very next week, this past week. So I had to be there Saturday. The coaches had to be on there Saturday, so I couldn't be with him that Saturday. His Muay Thai coach there, Chonburi, out of Nashville, they were there, and so. He told me before he left, like on that Thursday after sparring, he said, I said, hey, don't rush anything, right? Keep him on the end of your left hand, keep him on the end of that teep or the front kick, and it'll happen anyway. But I said, what do you think's going to happen? And he told me, he said, I think I'm going to get him out there in the first round. They had fought before as kids. Preston's 15. At 9 years old, I think, and Preston had stopped him with the knee to the body then. Mm-hmm. And they were just all over social media. It's a rematch 6 years in the making. But I really believe, and we'll have him on, I really believe Preston's the best 15-year-old, 145, 150.
Preston's 15?
He's just turned 15 last month.
I didn't even know that.
I think he's the best I think he's the best teenage 145, regardless of 15, 16, 17 in the United States. If somebody can prove different, we've got February 21st coming open. We got an open date at Cotton Eye Joe. That might as well be home. It's an hour and 20 minutes away.
Yep.
Anybody weighs 145, 150, give us a shout.
Come
nationwide, come and get it. He wants it. He wants to defend his title because he wanted it at Cotton Eye Joe.
I'll put money on it.
He's wanting to be on that card. And, the kid is 6'2", 145, 150, been Muay Thai, competing Muay Thai since he's 5 years old.
Beating grown men.
Oh, yeah, you have to watch who you let him spar.
Yeah.
And then he turns around 2 days after that. He goes to the USA Nationals in Richmond, Virginia. Boxes probably the second best kid in the whole bracket. We're trying to pull the hat trick. Best Muay Thai kid, best boxer in the country all in the same week. And first round, he's doing great. I thought we probably were going to pull it out. End up losing the decision. Competitive bout, no 8 counts, no nothing. And I'm like, man, it's amazing to be able to shift gears to. And 3 days apart and be able to compete at the highest level that boxing has to offer, the best kids in the country, and you're right there with them. You're just like that one step to get there. But we'll have him on the podcast next time. But y'all anything to add on the fight, though, before we –
Knees.
His Muay Thai clinch knees to the body.
As somebody that watches him that's not his coach, I watch him spar and everything. He does very, very good with everything. His boxing is right where his, Muay Thai is. He's up there.
Yeah. And we tell people this too on we were talking before, it's like everybody, like Floyd on Saturday night when you give him, he looks like amazing. But you don't get to see, Preston came back after like a year and a half layoff, and everybody, there's not a single boxer in this gym that's won every single round of sparring they've ever had.
Yep.
Right? Everybody in this gym loses rounds. And this kid is just built different. 14 years old, he tells his mom, I want to homeschool, I want to fight full time. That's what I want to do.
I mean, he's sparring 22-year-old men.
Yeah, he's sparring guys that I would have thought a year ago there's no way I'd ever let him spar.
Yeah, no.
Kids. So if you get a chance, February 21st, we got that open date. We're looking for an opponent for that show. We'll have him on the next podcast. 2 weeks from now, we're going to have the 2-time champ of the world from Lexington, Kentucky, Darren Schoolboy Van Horn.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks from
He's
now.
so nice.
Yeah, Schoolboy's got a class act. Yes. If you're over 35, over 40, say, you probably know exactly who. I mean, this guy's fighting on USA, Tuesday Night Fights
World
back
champion.
today.
Yeah.
He's fought all over the world. Yeah. Darren's my good buddy. Darren's going to be on here January 9th, I think 2 weeks from now. I call and tell his wife, right? I know if I tell his wife, it's going to happen. He's got a great one. She does all the scheduling. Fantastic guy. Now his son's boxing. His son's recently entered in the open division. So our next 2 podcasts, we're going to have the Aries Aries champion and the Gogi champion. Preston's champion of 2 different organizations. It'll be number 7 when the new rankings come out. He should be number 7 in the nation boxing. We'll have him on our next, and then 2 weeks from now we'll have the 2-time champ of the world, Darren Schoolboy Van Horn. Let Darren tell about his amateur career, what it's like to lay your head down at night knowing the next day you're fighting for a world title. I mean, that's valuable information. So anything else anybody wants to add?
Yeah, I just got one thing to say. When I saw Preston fight less than a year ago at Cotton Eye Joe's, I knew that I heard
you were there when he won the Aries Muay Thai title.
I
right?
knew. I heard he was good and everything, but he was young and he's fighting a grown man that was pretty built, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a challenge. But he manhandled that guy, and I couldn't believe how good he was with his front snap kicks and his boxing ability. He was unbelievable.
We were talking about here recently because we've had some opponents fall out, right? Preston just turned 15, right? So when I first had him in the gym, he was ranked number 3 in the nation as 11, 12-year-old boxing, right, back in 21, coming off COVID. He was sparring like these kids that had already hit puberty in the gym, and I think some folks have a hard time getting past that. Now what's happened, he was competing in boxing and sparring Muay Thai with these kids that are post-pubescent, right? They've already hit puberty, and he's like a 12-year-old kid, but he's tall, so you're thinking of him as a 14-year-old. Now what's happened is all that experience, all that high-level training, the best boxing training money can buy, the best Muay Thai training money can buy, and now he's hit puberty, and he's a 6'2" man, and he has the mindset of a stone cold. So it's all just culminated right together. And if you sparred him a year ago, this ain't the same kid. He's one of the best finishers, boxing, anything I've ever seen. So, barring an injury, I think he's probably going to be on Team USA. I think Muay Thai is March. He should be on. He's already been on Team USA before he went to Canada and stopped both of them 2 years ago. And I can see him being on Team USA boxing by the Summer Nationals, National Junior Olympics. And to be able to do both those simultaneously is like the Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders hat trick. So that's, I always want to do everything uphill, right? It's like, what's the hardest shot you can make here? Let's go. So let's see if we can do both simultaneous. That'd be amazing. But Muay Thai, I think he's already the best 145, 150 teenager in the country, right? 15, 16, 17. And like I said, we've got an open date, right? Tim Loy, Aries, contact him, run it by us. 5 3-minute rounds, That's the thing, right? Yeah, we went to graduating. 5 2-minute rounds is not enough for a world-class fighter. Yeah. Right? It ain't enough time. Everything's rushed. Right? Everything's rushed. So that's our schedule. Anything else you may want to add?
Yeah, Jerry, I'm coming out of retirement to fight Tyson because he really didn't impress me in that fight.
Get some of that $20 million.
Get some of that $20 million.
What do you think, Wyatt? Anything you want to add before we dismiss? Amy?
I'll pay crazy amounts of money for anybody that wants to fight Jerry Loughran. Just tell me.
You missed those podcasts. They ask if there's anybody, and I said there's only one person. Like, to me,
Tommy Fury's dad or Tyson Fury's dad.
You got to see Mason's dad. Mason can relate, right? You got the 50-year-old stud dad, right? Mason's dad, like Gigi, my wife thought Mason's dad was his brother. No kidding. Yeah, his dad's lived a clean life. So, like, nobody over 50 motivates me. Right? I'm like, over 50? Who are you talking to? And I said, there's one guy, but it's not that I think he's that good. It's that the mouth.
Yeah.
It's John Fury.
Yeah.
I walk to town to fight John Fury to punish him, right? Because he needs it. He's like, it's about your son. Like, I couldn't imagine my son fighting for a world title, and I'm headbutting people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can tell where he gets it from.
I'm gonna make sure that he's got everything that he needs.
Yeah.
You know, facilitate, but I want, if everybody leaves there, I want them to say, Wyatt, is that your dad? Was that your dad here? Because I just, facilitating in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
Instead of stealing making it all about you whenever
exactly.
you're 57 years old and 100 pounds overweight, talking about how tough you are.
Oh my God. I would
but it was
kick
John
my parents.
Fury. John Fury's the guy that I said.
I tell my parents before every fight, do not get emotional. Don't be screaming anything. And they sit there in silence the whole time. I know my mom wants to, but I could never imagine my dad fighting somebody in the stands.
We'll dismiss with this because everybody wonders about the behind the scenes. Preston's mom is really quiet, right? You never know she's here. Stephanie didn't want to be on camera. She's hiding, during the podcast. But I always tease her and say, during a fight, she's Pentecostal. Right? she all of a sudden comes out. I was like, who is that Pentecostal lady in the background? So he boxes here recently, and I pulled the same thing with the bowling alley. And I said, hey, they always get on to us over the noise. And then not a peep out of her. She thought I was serious. She didn't. I have to work on that. People don't know what I'm joking.
I love Aiden's mom.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
How do you think a fight between you and Andrew Tate goes?
Andrew Tate boxing? Oh, I'll turn him inside out. Yeah, he won't abduct anybody after that.
It just came to my mind.
If you watch his boxing's rough. I mean, anybody can tuck up and walk Andrew Tate. Now, if you add the legs, give Andrew Tate credit. If you add the kicks in, then he's a bad man. But hands only, anybody who can tuck up and walk him down and has good punching power could beat him. Yeah. And he's got his chin stuck straight up in the air.
I've been on body shield to Jerry.
He's
it's
tough.
not fun.
He ain't gonna lay down. He ain't gonna lay down the first time you hit him. But you got to add the kicks in. Like the Jake Paul thing with Andrew Tate. He was trying to make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's got bigger fish to fry.
What happened to Andrew Tate? Like, he was so famous.
They're prosecuting him. Yeah, he's
now he's
it
just
doesn't
in the
look
shadows.
good for the Tate brothers, right? Their assets have been seized.
They got arrested and they've been in the shadows ever since.
They got accused. They were running like all kinds of online
streaming with Aiden Ross.
Online, basically like OnlyFans type stuff, and they're making commission off the girls, and then they were saying some of them were being. The first allegation was held against their will, right?
Yeah.
And then now it's just got wider and deeper, the investigation, and it's not looking very promising for them. They've seized all their assets and cars, and so. All right, well, let's revisit next week and wrap it up, and we'll go live again.
All righty.
Jerry, go after Conor McGregor.
Conor, that's another one stealing money.